welcome back to my channel. It is Christian here, and you're tuned in for more of my 2 cents. Okay, so I'm excited about today's topic. It definitely piggybacks off of yesterday's, where I addressed and gave my 2 cents on Sarah Jakes Roberts' apology to the church and Christians in the Black community on the whole mental wealth conversation, the mental health, mental wealth conversation, and basically being told to pray it away, like not to seek help, making it seem like it's all bad and no good, and it's Satan. Child, we're gonna get into it, but that's what yesterday's video was about. But today we are going to be talking about depression is not of the devil. Okay, depression is not a demon. Depression is not Satan. Depression is not from an opening that you've allowed to get in. There are so many myths and stigmas and ill-conceived notions that drive me. It pisses me off to no end. And I'm going to try to stay calm while I talk about this, because I want to hit all my points, and I want to be, very, I want to be direct, but I want to be, thoughtful of those who may be watching this, who deal with mental health, issues, or have some struggles or some things that they're working through now. I want it to be conveyed in love, like, even though there's some anger for the people in church that I have who, mishandle and abuse their power and position that should be used to help people. My anger is with them. It's not with you. I want you to get all of the healing and all of the freedom and all of the resources and the help that you need to live a full, balanced life. But it's going to take some things, okay? It's going to take the peeling back of layers and the work that you're going to have to do to get out of the mindset that you're wrong for needing help, okay? But first, before we get into that, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by and for watching. And if you are, a repeat watcher, hey, y'all, hey, I'm so glad you stopped back by today, okay? You're a 2 center, and I love you, and I appreciate you, and I thank you all so much for being a part of these, I would call them tough conversations, but these much-needed conversations, things that you never hear around your grandma table, and you may get slapped in your mouth to this day by your auntie, okay? Because people don't like to talk about church. People don't like to talk about Christianity, religion, or any of these things. They're taboo topics, but we are overcoming that by using logic. Everything doesn't have to be combated with scripture. Everything doesn't have to be broken down based off of the context in which it happened back in those days or those times. Some things just don't add up, and when the math does not math, okay? You don't pull out the Bible, you pull out a calculator, okay? Logic. That's what we use over here. So welcome, welcome, welcome. If you get anything out of this content and you enjoy this conversation today, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I would love to personally add you to our 2 cents crew. And darn it, I forgot to say this in my last video. 3 points that I say every time we start a discussion because they matter most. Number 1, you're not alone. Number 2, you're not crazy. Number 3, God, your creator, still loves you, and I do too. So let's talk about it. So today I am going to be reading from the book of Depression is Not the Devil. Y'all, I don't know. I don't know if I'm more concerned about the churchgoers who have allowed this mindset to creep into, like the living side of things, or if the problem should be with the leaders and the teachers and the ministers and the pastors and the bishops and the elders and all them other people who spew this rhetoric. I don't know where the fault lies. I don't know if the fault lies with the teachers or the students. Because the students have to believe it and accept it as true and perpetuate it out amongst each other and themselves in order for it to even have any value. But then it's like the teachers should know better and not even do it, not even spew it, so that it doesn't actually like penetrate the hearts and the surfaces and the minds of those who actually have to go out and live amongst the foolery, the fugazi, the foolala, okay? It's hard out here. And so I want to start by saying that, right? Navigating life has its ups and downs. That's just how it goes. That's just the way it is. Shout out to Tupac. Well, not currently shot, but whatever. There's enough for all of us to navigate, right? There's enough for us to navigate, and it gets even more trying, and it gets even more difficult as we grow in life, as we encounter other people, as we encounter other circumstances. It can be your health, it can be your finances, it can be your relationships, it can be your marriage, it can be your job, it can be your education, it can be your children, it can be your home. There are challenges in every area of our lives, and challenges usually can come with change, right? When you're changing something, you're transitioning things. People are transitioning. You know, there are a lot of things that come into play, and a lot of things that usually compiles, where people just feel bogged down and like they just can't get out. Like the hopelessness just compiles as you get older. Sometimes it feels like. And that's on an adult level. And so I'm trying to give you like some kind of footing for how this usually turns into a bad situation when you're in church and someone's telling you that you should just pray things away, or that if you feel depressed, or if you feel down or bad or out or whatever, or hopeless, just pray. You know, get in this prayer line, sow a seed to get out of that. That's not how this works, because there are everyday issues that continue to exist even after you pray and say amen. This stuff doesn't go away. It doesn't. And if you're as fortunate as I was growing up, this stuff was never talked about, period. Period. At all. I found out about depression because I was a psychology major in college. Like, I'm not even lying to you. There was no one who ever discussed this. My mom never discussed it with her mom. Nobody ever discussed it with me. Nobody ever discussed it with my siblings. Nobody ever discussed it in our church. And that was the biggest social experience that I had in life. Everything I did was pretty much church focused and centered. And at no point did anyone ever talk about what you go through in your day-to-day life and how the struggles of the mind can really steal your joy and your peace. And now that I'm older, I realize that nobody wanted to discuss that, because everybody wanted to discuss hellfire and brimstone. Everybody wanted to discuss what you were doing wrong, so there was no time to actually talk about how to, get balance, how to handle your every day-to-day life experiences, the challenges, the real world. We're out here fighting Satan like we are part of the damn Sailor Moon team. I don't want to do that all the time when I have other things that are really going on. And so everything has been equated to depression is of the devil, right? Mental health issues, schizophrenia, multiple personality disorders, right? Going through things where you really feel like you cannot wake up. You don't want to get up. You don't want to go forward with your day. You don't want to take a shower. You don't want to pay your bills, but you got the money. Like, you just don't have the drive and the desire to actually live a thriving life. That's not something you choose. There's something wrong. There's something going on internally that you need help with. That's not the devil. Things that you suffer with in your past, foundationally, things that may have happened to you as a child, things you may have seen, things people may have said to you, right? Things that were perpetuated against you when you couldn't defend yourself, when you couldn't tell your parents or your guardian, fear that was evoked within you and put up on you, the silencing of your voice. Some of you are veterans and have served our country. Thank you so much for your service. But you now deal with PTSD. You have a lot of things going on, insomnia. Like, these are real issues, and there are people who are in the church sitting, dealing with and battling these things now, but there's no balance. There's no grace given because it's a demon. People are literally out here telling folks that these are demons, that it's Satan attacking them, and they need to get delivered from it. And I don't like that. I don't like that. 0 stars, do not recommend. So let's get to the notes. Depression is not the devil, okay? Fear and misconception that depression is caused because of sin or an opening you've allowed to the enemy is bull. I want you to know that I'm telling you that from my lips. There's no entry point that you allowed in listening to music, certain music, or drinking, or partying, or even your sexual partners. These are things that I've heard people say in defense of other people's mental health issues. Oh, they let an opening somewhere to open. There was an opening for the enemy to get in. Do y'all just think? Well, yes, y'all do think, because I don't know if there's a scripture that says this, but I've heard it said multiple times that the Satan is just like crouching outside of your doorstep, waiting for an opening to come in. Y'all do have to understand how crazy that sounds. That someone who was a child and has childhood trauma from being assaulted, from being abused, neglected, or mistreated, what opening exactly did they allow? I'll wait. And they're still dealing with it now as an adult. What did they allow? Suffering, health issues, to the extent that you're not able to bear children. That can cause depression. That can cause mental, like struggles internally. What opening did that person leave for Satan to come on in and mess up their ovaries or their womb to where they cannot conceive or carry, or have to have a full hysterectomy? What exactly is the explanation for things like that? Y'all don't have an explanation. So it's the fear and the misconception that you've done something that has allowed this to now be a challenge in your life. That's disgusting. I don't like that. And if anyone in your church or your circle says anything like that to you, that you've done something to cause this to be released upon you, cut them off immediately. Child, if it was Edward Scissorhand, like I told my husband, I'm Alicia Scissorhand, because I'm going to cut you off quickly. No questions asked. Next point, prayer is not enough. Now, this is what Sarah Jakes Roberts told y'all, and she apologized for y'all being told to pray it away. Prayer is not enough. 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 Say it again for the people in the basement. Prayer is not enough. They came upstairs, but they in the back. Prayer is not enough. Drop it low, and back it up. Prayer is not enough. It's not enough. It's not. Because you have to understand that a lot of you have prayed for a lot of things up until this point in your faith, and you have not seen motion, action, results, which is what causes a lot of people to waver in their beliefs, because they have not seen a manifestation of that which they have asked or prayed or sought. So if you're still struggling with these things and it's still hard for you to find peace or balance or clarity or any little bit of happiness and joy, but you are tithing, you are attending, you are fasting, you are meditating, you are shutting in, you are praying, you are speaking in tongues, you are running around, you're doing all of this stuff, and you're still battling with these things when you leave, prayer is not enough. Go seek professional help. You're not wrong for doing that. Your Creator will not be upset that you did that. Your Creator will not be upset that you received a prescription to help you feel balanced emotionally, for you not to want to take yourself out or other people. Your Creator will not be upset about that. But your religion and your faith will have you believe that you're totally out of order and you're seeking things that are not of God in order to get the peace that passes all understanding. It's easy to say what you should do when it's never been you. And that's why, I also have a background in psychology, so I'm very understanding. It is easy to say what to do when it's not you. So telling people they shouldn't be going to therapists, telling people they don't need medication, telling people that mental disorders, personality disorders, coping disorders are not of God, that's because you ain't never been through it. And some of y'all pastors go through it and they're on medication. Okay. Now I'm just here to tell y'all what Jesus loved. And I thought God liked truth. But y'all don't want that. Next up, you can take medicine. That doesn't mean you don't have faith. I had already tapped on that. You can go ahead and swallow the pills. You can go ahead and do what you need to do to get what you need to get. It's amazing. And logic here. Okay, so we say that God sees and knows all. God is the creator of all things. And God knew what we would do before we even did it. God knows everything before it even happens. Because none of this stuff is happening for the first time. It's already happened. It's already done. And we're just living it in the present moment. And that is for real. Because there's no way that God knows everything before it happens if it hasn't already happened. So do your own work on that. But I need somebody to explain this to me. Why would God create all of us, let all of us grow up, be who we are, do what we do, learn what we learn, experience what we experience, become doctors, teachers, lawyers, police officers, garbage men, car salesmen, barbers, beauticians, nail techs, donut makers, right? Why would God allow all of us to do this? Oh, and therapists. Don't forget the therapists, okay? And therapists, and then create the people or put the desire in the heart and the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding for medication that will help treat these symptoms and these diagnoses. Why would God do all of that? Why would God create all of that through us for you to struggle and suffer with it? Did God not know that therapists would be needed? Did God not know that lawyers would be needed? Did God not know that doctors would need to exist? Did God not know that chemists and scientists would need to exist for these very reasons as well as other reasons? So when you tell me that it's not God's will that you go see a therapist or go talk to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, I call bullshit on that. Because it's kind of like, why would God set you up to go through this long term for your whole life and battle it without ever presenting an answer or a solution? We all hate cancer, right? All of us is out here throwing up to the cancer, right? But there have been, how do I say this? I don't want to say cures, but chemo and radiation, medicine, there are treatments that help, right, to save lives concerning this disease. So for every problem, there is a solution. Now, whether the solution has been realized by certain people, I don't know. If the cure for cancer exists now, I think it does, but we're not here for that. Or if that will come 10 years down the line from a 18-year-old right now who will be 28 when they discover it. My point is there's always going to be a solution to whatever you're dealing with currently. And I believe that our Creator knows and knew and still knows even the more advancements in the openings, in the information, in the revelation, in the knowledge that's going to come forth to help people dealing with all manners of life and issues and circumstances. And as so is with mental health. God did not create humans knowing that they would have battles in their mind and not send an answer and a solution for that. Hell, y'all say he sent Jesus for the sins of the world, but that's not good enough. So when Jesus died on the cross, he took depression with him. He took poverty with him too, but I'm still seeing people under the bridge. But y'all want to talk about that. Y'all pastors just want to throw stuff out there to get offerings, but don't want to address all the things that Jesus allegedly came to take away. But people are still suffering with them today. And it's not because of a demon. It's not because of the devil. It's real life stuff going on, but y'all don't want to talk about that, or you're not equipped to talk about it. And that's probably my next point. My next point is go get professional help. We talked about that, so I'm going to move right along. Please call someone. There are therapists that you can talk to online, virtually, on the phone, Zoom, or whatever. There are a lot of resources available to you. And I, for one, believe that you should tap into all of them if it's something that you need and you know you need it. And it's unbiased. People don't have to know. They don't have to be in your business. You don't have to tell people. But when you get to that place of healing and wholeness, you will scream it from the rooftop what got you there. Because you will want to share that good news and that truth with other people. That's why I don't understand how they say that the good news, that the gospel is the good news. Because y'all only share the bad. Y'all are only always harassing people with y'all good news. It's not really happy news. It's condemnation. It's torment. It's punishment. It's not love and happiness. It's not resources. Like, okay, if y'all gonna tell church people not to go to a therapist, what are your solutions? What are y'all telling people to do then? Pray. Okay. Recently, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, David Mann, y'all know Mr. Brown from the Tyler Perry shows and the plays. He and his wife Tamla Mann were on the Tamron Hall show. And David Mann actually shared that he has or does struggle with depression. And it was a pearl clutching moment when I saw the clip. Because I was like, ooh, not the national TV, honey. As a church man, as a gospel singer, like they're not going to like that. But it's the reality of the fact that this is literally something that everyday people are dealing with. It doesn't matter their title. It doesn't matter their position. It doesn't matter their bank account balance. It doesn't matter their background. These are real life issues that y'all weak pastors are not equipped to deal with. So they throw it off on prayer. They throw it off on fasting. They throw it off on you. It's you. It's you. It's you. Pastors never get in the pulpit and talk about the things that have been done wrong against people as it relates to trauma from childhood, parents that have mistreated or abused or neglected you. They never talk about that. Isn't it amazing and funny how pastors always harp on the same thing? You getting a blessing. You changing your direction. It being your healing season. It being your season to step into it, walk into it, get your blessing, get your greater, all of this. But it's like, do y'all ever have any revelations of real life on life issues of things that people in y'all congregation are dealing with? So you telling me that your creator that you seek the face of all the time, you're in consecration to get a word or a message from, never says, this is what your people need to hear? Someone in your congregation is suffering and dealing with this? That's why I say y'all weak. Your pastors are weak. Because if this was really happening and there was really a connection with the member in the body, it wouldn't be nothing that your pastors and leaders would not know or discern was actually attacking or a problem for people in the audience or in the body. My head don't hurt and I don't acknowledge it or feel it, right? My foot don't hurt or itch and I don't acknowledge it, feel it, and then my hand moves to do it. That's because I am aware. And a lot of these pastors are not aware. So your pastors give y'all these cookie cutter bubblegum messages talking about haters who don't like you, right? You finna get your breakthrough. All of these things, it's always about who don't like you, what's coming next, what you need to be doing in church, getting ready for the rapture, things like that. Very surface stuff. Kind of like if you were going to see a psychic and they always say the same thing when they look at their crystal ball. It's like you say that to everybody to come through here. That's what your pastors are giving. They never have a real on-time word for what people are actually going through right then and there. And that's my problem. Go get you a pastor. Go get you a therapist. Go get you a therapist. And it's okay. So David Mann shared, and he said something that was really like, it was shocking and it was sad to me, but I was so glad he said it, and it's his truth. And I'm grateful that he used a secular platform to say it and not like a gospel interview or Christian radio interview, because that arena is very judgmental. And that's why we're even having this conversation now, because you can't be in those spaces and talk about this authentically and organically without people saying things like, I'm going to be praying for you. Like, what are you talking about? Baby boy out here telling y'all what he dealing with. It's not a prayer conversation, right? It's a resource and information conversation. It's a thank you for acknowledging and being bold enough to speak out so someone else can go and seek what they need as well. And without fear, shame, or embarrassment conversation. It's a why did he have to say that on Tamron Hall versus in the pulpit or or on a stage at a stadium when he's opening up for other people or singing? Because there's no love there. There's no love in the church. Okay? Shout out to Faith Evans. You get no love from me. Y'all don't be giving love. Y'all want the people, but y'all don't want to love them. Y'all don't want to nurture them back to health where they will stay and sing from the rooftops what happened with you. What happened because of your love and your prayers. And you say, you know what? The church is actually going to cover the first 3 months of your counseling and therapy. I do y'all one better. Let me skip down. Shit, I gotta. I'm not gonna make this a two-part video. We just gonna be here for 30 minutes, okay? Got 5 more to go. Let me rush through this. So David Mann said he felt like he was drowning and no one noticed it, and no one would notice it until he had completely drowned. This is what this grown man said sitting next to his wife, who also knows he dealt with this. But y'all didn't know. Because surface never will penetrate the core that relationship does. Being related ain't equal to relationship. Some of y'all, again, my video on being a fan and not a friend. When you're a friend of God, of the Creator, you have the benefits of, you have the release to, like, actually explore, connect with, and access that which helps you live a full, balanced life. But when you're a fan, you're always outside putting your mouth on other people that's inside getting what they need, doing what they need to be doing. Hence the church. Depression is of the devil. Oh no, that's just the attack of the enemy coming against your mind. What does that mean? So again, we're giving Satan more power than God, because if I'm a Christian, if I'm a believer, why does Satan have that much power to attack me mentally to where I am not wanting to go about my daily schedule? Right? I don't feel like getting dressed. I don't want to take care of my kid. Like, those are the things that you have to start asking yourself and doing the math on. If I am loved by God, if I'm chosen, if I'm one of his children, if I chose salvation over the world, why am I suffering and struggling with this? Because this is a human experience. And it doesn't make you a bad person. You did nothing wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You've done nothing wrong. I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you. You didn't do anything wrong. It's not your fault. And whatever route you decide to go to get the help and the balance that you need from a therapist, from a psychologist, from a counselor, from a psychologist, you want to take medicine, do what's best for you. You want to join a group, do that. Do what's best for you. Get what you need. You can still pray. Mental health and faith can coexist. You can still be a person of faith and utilize the people that God created to help you. That was my next point. You can combine faith with counseling. Stop calling everything a demon and go get training to counsel your congregants. That was a message to the pastors. Instead of calling everything the devil, an attack, or the trick of the enemy, how about you just go get equipped to actually help your congregation? How about you actually go through some training, get some certification and some classes to have the skills to help the people in your ministry? Since you love them so much and you're there to serve them, why not equip yourself with what you need to actually help them? Not help yourself to their money and their resources or their presence, but why don't you actually be a gift in their lives? Why don't you guys actually get a counselor to come and be on staff and on payroll? And make sure they ain't no member so that he or she can actually uphold the standards of privacy for your members. You pay them out the good tithes and offering that they paying into the church. Put them on a retainer. This is what the body of Christ should be doing. But no, they never do that. Because if you're well, if you're healed, if you're whole, you don't have to keep coming to them no more. Just like people wonder why the FDA lets so much trash into the food in America, because a well America is a broke America. What is y'all talking about? Like, we don't want all y'all eating good. We don't want all y'all eating healthy and caring. Somebody got to eat this trash so we can actually get some money filtered through here from the debt and the, you know, the payments, the government funds and the federal funds. Like, they know what they're doing, as is with your pastor. A well church, a healed ministry, a happy, blessed, joyful, jolly, stable, balanced, you know, congregation, that does not add up to cha-ching dollar signs for them. So, go get what you need. Google, search therapists, search psychiatrists, or ask your pastor, Pastor, what are your thoughts on therapy? What are your thoughts on psychology? And if it's anything like these other cults and religions, you know, like the, you know, FMLA, FLDS, like them, or the Scientologists, they don't can't stand and speak out very boldly concerning psychology. They don't want their congregants to go get help for self. Self-help is the biggest deterrent and the biggest kryptonite for people over religious organizations. If you know how to help yourself, what do you need me for? They don't like that. Remember that. All right? So a healed self, a happy self, a whole self is a well self, a blessed self, an abundant self, you know, a peaceful self, a kind self, a giving self. You may be in a better position to give and do and want to be a part of your community and your family and all of those other things if you are totally well and balanced. And if you don't know where to start or how to get there, just ask. Ask other people. Ask those around you who may not be of the same belief system as you, but do that for you. You deserve that. You don't have to ask permission for that because God has already provided that. In every creation that is here, there is also a solution for you. Okay? All right. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully somebody out there hears this and they are freed from the bondage and the fear of being in the wrong for actually acknowledging needing help from a mental health perspective. Okay? Your whole balanced life is your best life, and you deserve that. So go get it. Okay? All right. If you've enjoyed the video, like it, subscribe to the channel. I would love to add you to my 2 cents crew. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be blessed, be safe, and be loved. All right? Bye.